Today, in the $10 million studio, we look at the most successful vibe coding movement on the internet right now.
You can see that it expanded the soul and the identity. This is my personality: builder first, mission monk discipline, high conviction, transparent operator.
And it's fascinating backstory, because this movement was born out of a Discord diss. Over 2 years ago, a Purdue University finance major was visiting a computer science Discord trying to get help for his startup. And they laughed him out of the room, told him to stay in his lane.
Okay, I remember how that felt. And I remember how it felt to have people hate on me in a Discord. And when you do that to somebody and you put a chip on their shoulder, you're going to create something really powerful.
And he took a screenshot and decided he was going to show them. He didn't need no stinking computer science students to build his startup. He could do it on his own with AI. And we know from history that this feeling of spite can be the emotional engine that can fuel somebody to great success. For example, Stephen King. He got 30 rejections, pinned them onto his wall, kept writing until he published his first novel, Carrie. Or a high school basketball player who was cut from his team because there was a kid who was taller than him. And 6 championships later, he was still checking into hotels under the name of his rival, Leroy Smith. And I'm talking about Michael Jordan here. And the same with Matthew Miller. He decided he wouldn't let that setback deter him. He pinned the Discord screenshot on his wall, pointed the camera at himself, turned it on, and the rest is history.
For example, one thing I learned is that you actually cannot cook an egg on a DGX Spark. Obviously, when you initially buy a DGX Spark, that's one of the first things that you want to do with it.
In this documentary, we look at everything. His humble beginnings, the cold plunges, the push-ups, which products he's building, which AI models he preferred over time. Yes, even the infamous coin. And yes, this is long, but I figured it could be interesting to somebody who's trying to build his own startup or who's trying to build a successful social media presence, because this man is good at marketing.
While I've been vibe coding, while I've been just watching the road, I haven't had to touch the wheel. It slowed down and the person gave me a wave. They were like, "Hey, thank you." Like, what? Okay.
And I find him fun to watch. So I hope you enjoy, and because I already talked a lot this week, I'm going to pass on the narration to my assistant, Wolfgang.
Hello, I am Wolfgang Habermann, a research fellow on loan from the year 2085 to the desk of my colleague Johanna, who lives here with you in 2026. My assignment is a lost civilization. The brief, frantic window of 2025 to 2027, when your species spent all its energy teaching machines to do the one thing it had only just taught itself.
Hello. So today I'm going to be spending about 50 minutes working on Codecademy, learning back-end development with Express.js. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but the whole concept of this channel is I'm on a journey to start a business and to become a successful entrepreneur. And I'm documenting that journey and documenting my daily grind. So if you want to study alongside me or just watch, I don't know, but this is essentially just a documentary of my success story.
A documentary of my success story. He was right, it did become a documentary. The specimen on your screen is Matthew, 23 years old. I have studied him for a long while now. I have, against my professional training, come to admire him. So let me introduce him properly. The rise, the money, the coin, the push-ups, the cold plunges, all of it as fairly as I can manage. Shall we begin?
Because I'm confident in myself and that I'm going to make it, and I'm going to work incredibly hard to make sure that I'm successful in entrepreneurship and in business. So if you've watched my intro video or the first video on my channel, you can see that I have a business that I'm working on, and I've coded my own website and coded my own software, and I continue to learn new software skills each day, and today I'm working in back.
We begin at the beginning. September 2023. Before the phrase vibe coding existed, before the $1 million mission, before the coin, here he is, alone, teaching himself a back-end framework from an online course.
And today I'm working in back-end development. So how I usually do this is I'm going to work for 50 minutes from 9:40 to 10:30, and every 10 minutes I'm going to do 50 push-ups. So let's get started.
50 push-ups every 10 minutes. We have machines for that in my time too. But I find this oddly moving. The discipline arrives before the audience. No one is watching this video. He is doing it anyway.
This is very basic stuff, and if an experienced programmer watched me, they'd probably be thinking, wow, like, he is not good at programming. But the thing is, with software tools that exist now, like ChatGPT, you really just need to understand the concepts and understand how to read the code. And from there, you can use tools that now exist to be able to help you write that code and help you correct those errors. And you'll be able to create solid code. But this is just how you learn it. You have to get familiar with these functions, and you have to understand how it works so that they can use other tools to be able to make it work. So that's exactly what I'm doing. So I hope you can bear with me.
And there it is, the entire philosophy, 2 years early, stated more plainly than he will ever state it again. Understand the concepts, learn to read the code, and let the tools write it. Remember this clip. When you are later told that vibe coding was a sudden revolution that arrived with the new models he already had, the whole idea in a room by himself in 2023. He was just waiting for the machines to catch up to him.
Traxon said, can you explain your experience in coding? Yeah, so I'm 23 years old. I went to Purdue University to study business. I dropped out of Purdue University. I started programming a little bit in high school. So about 6 years ago, I started programming. And then when I was in college is when I really went off the deep end and got really into it. And, one of the main reasons that I got so interested in it in college is because the AI tools had gotten so much better that to build incredible things, you no longer had to be some like whiz programmer that had been programming for 20 years. You just had to, at that time, I was using GPT 3.5, GPT 4, and that was enough, just using ChatGPT to take, you're working in VS Code and you're copying and pasting files in from ChatGPT over to your VS Code editor. And, what's crazy is that, now it's all built into the editor with tools like Cursor. So, but yeah, so just to iterate my experience a little bit. So I dropped out of college to start my own business called Bright Choice. Bright Choice was an online mental health company where if you guys have ever heard of BetterHelp or Talkspace, those were some of our competitors. And in 6 months, I was required to write 2 million lines of code, which I did so successfully to build the platform. That's probably the biggest experience that I have. And then I got into some other startups and other side projects, and now I'm doing what I'm doing now, which is BridgeMind. So you guys are watching the story unfold right before your eyes now. All right.
The origin story. Purdue University, finance major, he is keen, it was Purdue. He drops out, builds an online mental health startup called Bright Choice, and he says writes 2 million lines of code in 6 months. Remember that statistic. 2 million lines, 6 months. We will meet it again later, bolted onto a startup with a different name. Matthew is, if anything, highly consistent.
Pluto asked, you do this full time? I had a startup previously. I dropped out of college to run a startup. Dropped out of Purdue University, actually, so it wasn't like I dropped out of like a freaking community college. I had a good degree going for me, finance degree, but I got super into computer programming and I dropped out to run a startup. And basically, the startup has since gone away. And now I've got some freedom and trying to figure out what to do next in life.
Not a community college. In this culture, status was a thing you signaled even while explaining why you walked away from it.
All right, so a little bit more of the background story. I launched an AI academy, and that was one of my businesses. That's what BridgeMind originally was. It was an AI academy. But I've recently moved in a different direction. BridgeMind was essentially a different business that I had started for a different reason. which right now we've got issues because of a different reason, but close out of that. Hold up. I haven't accessed this project for a while. But yeah, so BridgeMind was a pretty good platform for learning how to use AI. I was making money from it, and I mean it was good, but I've since taken it in a different direction.
One thing he corrects himself. BridgeMind did not begin as a coding empire. It began as an academy. He was selling courses. The brand existed before the mission did. From the very first frame, he is a marketer on social media. A marketer who will insist later, again and again, that he's not an influencer. He hates that word, in fact.
Yeah, so if you look behind me, you'll see like I have a bunch of textbooks because basically I'm a self-taught programmer. So I enrolled in online academies and I read books and I just taught myself how to program. And I became a developer first. And then once the AI started getting so good, I think it's fair to say that you can lean on the AI more, especially for people that are new to programming. Like I think that if you're new to programming, you actually have an advantage with vibe coding because there's certain things about vibe coding that are you have to learn, just like you have to learn programming. You know, vibe coding is called vibe coding, but really what it is it's programming with an intelligent assistant or an intelligent agent that's able to work way better than a normal programmer would, way faster than a normal programmer would. And the best part about it is that it's only getting better.
And this is genuinely sharp. He argues that being new to programming is an advantage in this new world because you carry no old habits to unlearn. He is, of course, describing himself, but he is not wrong. Day 1. The series has a name. Vibe coding an app until I make $1 million. The app is called GoalPost. 2 people are watching. He addresses them like a stadium.
The Google setup. All right. I think I'm live. So, hello. We are working on an app called GoalPost. And I've been working on this for a few months now, actually. But it's been in the pipeline of the software. So I've been working on a couple different projects. This has been one that has been a little bit in the background since in order to launch apps, there are some issues that you'll run into, and those issues require a lot of help from Apple developer support or the Google Play Store support. That's a part of the process. Something that we're working on still. One of the bigger roadblocks is just that to set up subscriptions with RevenueCat and the Google Play Store and the App Store. And in technology, I make $1 million. That's right, $1 million. We have changed the theme and the name of the stream from vibe coding an app until I make my first dollar to vibe coding an app until I make $1 million. And the reason that we did that is because I have great conviction that this is going to be significantly successful. So if you're watching that, we've been working on it for 5 days. GoalPost is...
That's quite the GoalPost move. But it proves that you just have to start somewhere. Then you refine the strategy until you happen upon something that works.
I don't know if it's a silly little journey. I feel like this is a serious big journey, in my opinion. Like, you know, the title is Vibe Coding an App Until I Make $1 million, and I'm actually pretty serious about that. I've been in the startup world for about 3 years now, and I have a lot of experience. I have a lot of experience with marketing. I have a lot of experience with programming. I have a lot of experience with investing. So I think we have a lot to say here for this. I do believe in this. I think that we're going to make $1 million, and I think that I'm going to live stream it the entire time, and I think it's going to go viral because my thinking is, what if you can just make $1 million and just live stream the entire journey? On a journey to vibe code and basically vibe code apps until I make $1 million. And you know, this journey isn't just about one singular app. Maybe I should start updating the title, but you know, the more that I think about it, you know, it's not about just one singular app. And the reason I think it's not about just GoalPost in general, for example, is because sometimes things don't work out when you launch them on the market. Sometimes they can fail and they can actually kind of flop. So the strategy is to not really put all of our eggs in one basket and say that, hey, GoalPost has to be an app that's going to blow up and it's going to make me $1 million. Instead, it's more like, we're going to vibe code apps until I make $1 million. So over the course of this journey while I'm streaming and while I'm building stuff in front of you guys, we are going to make $1 million. It might not be GoalPost, but we're going to launch GoalPost. And what's cool about apps is once you launch them, you just have to maintain them. It's like anything else in life. It's like you put a ton of work into something up front, and then once you have that done, you're able to maintain a little bit more. Do that because I'm doing this every day, and I plan on doing it like 2 to 4 hours every single day. And I'm gonna do it until I make $1 million. So if you guys are interested in that, like, this is not gonna be like a 20-day journey. Like, this is gonna be a 6-month journey, or maybe even a year-long journey. And I'm just gonna stream the whole time, you know? And that's how I know. It's like, hey, if you're consistent, then you're gonna blow up. Like, it's not even a question. We already have 1,000.
And here is the thesis, and it is a good one. Don't bet on a single app. Most apps fail, so build many, market all of them, and stay consistent for years. Strip away the energy, and this is sound, almost dull business advice. The trick of Matthew is that he can make dull advice sound like he just split the atom.
Graphic designer, back-end dev, what's your title? What do you mean, like title of like what my job is? My job is Chief Vibecoder. Chief Vibe.
Job title? Chief Vibe Coder. In 2085, we just call that employed. The first product, a goal tracking app with a little social feed. It is fine, a perfectly reasonable small app. What happens to it next, however, is the most instructive thing in this entire study, so watch how he handles trouble.
Sahil, we're working on a goal productivity app. So this is GoalPost. Basically, you're able to actually like post your goals, and you're able to work towards your goals with other people on the app, and you're able to share them. So here are my goals: make $1 million, reach 1,000 subscribers, and then you're able to have focus sessions. So when you create your goal, you allocate basically like how much time you want to work towards a specific goal, and then you select, you have these focus sessions, and you work towards them with sessions that kind of like help you focus. Stream everybody. Today, we're having an emergency vibe coding meeting. Our RevenueCat subscription logic is still not working.
An emergency vibe coding meeting. The payment system has been broken for days.
All right, here's what we're gonna do. We're not gonna give up, first of all. We have a folder here that we're gonna call screenshots, and we're just gonna drop everything. We're gonna drop screenshots from every single platform, and we're just gonna pass it right into chat. We're really gonna get to the bottom of this. We're gonna take screenshots of everything.
And here is the method in its purest form. He does not open a debugger. He does not isolate the failure. He takes screenshots of every screen he can find, feeds the pictures to the machine, and asks it to understand. To a programmer of your era, this is heresy. To me, it is a very early, very clumsy version of using AI, before we gave it eyes.
Probably tell, but I'm kind of locked in on this, on getting this solved. We've been stuck on this, and, you know, it's frustrating. There's just so many factors at play that it's a bigger error than you would anticipate. It's a bigger bug than you'd anticipate, because of the time that it takes to test it, as well as the amount of things that are actually being configured. Like, it could be on App Store Connect, it could be on RevenueCat, it could be something in the test environment, it could be something in the API, it could be something in the code, in the app.
He can feel the problem is large, but he cannot say where it lives: the App Store, the billing service, the API, the code. The map in his head has no edges. This is the quiet cost of never reading the code. When it breaks, the entire world becomes a suspect.
Oh my gosh. Guys. We just found the root cause. Oh my gosh. I need to post this on freaking X. Oh my gosh. Guys. This is our error. There's the smoking gun. The build logs reveal the exact issue. Your provisioning profile doesn't have the required entitlements for in-app purchases. This is why subscriptions aren't working in production. Your provisioning profile was created on May 27th, but doesn't include the in-app purchase capability. This happens when the app ID in Apple Developer Portal doesn't have in-app purchase capability enabled. The provisioning profile was generated before adding the capability. ESBuild is using an outdated caching provisioning profile.
The machine found it, with him trying to keep it on track, and with a viewer named Rodex doing a fair share of the steering. But found is found.
I have decided that I no longer want to use RevenueCat. I want to completely change my app to use Superwall. I already have an account, and I now need you to take a look at my front-end code as well as the API and figure out how to completely remove all the code pertaining to RevenueCat and replace it with code related to Superwall and integrating Superwall into the project instead of RevenueCat. Please integrate best practices and follow documentations. All right, there we go. If you guys are watching, you haven't already liked and subscribed, we've decided to take a different approach than we were expecting. We were doing RevenueCat for our subscription, and now we've decided to essentially change over to Superwall and give that a shot. Thank you, GoZoop, again, for the shout out on that one. We're gonna see if we can get this working, because we're stuck on the issue with RevenueCat for about a day now. So it's time to move on. Decide to move on.
And then, on the other Day 14 stream, having found nothing he likes, he does the other thing he does. He rips the entire tool out and replaces it. When the root cause is annoying, Matthew's instinct is not always to fix it. Sometimes he just discards it.
Hey, is everything okay? No. Oh, really? Are you guys good? Wow, I had no idea it was raining. Do you guys need me to pick you up? Is that... Bro. Where... My brother was just calling me. Sorry about that. Hold on, guys. I think I need to go help my brothers. But I literally do not want to end the stream because we're so close to this problem. Like, we need to solve this problem. But I think I may need to go help them. Call Brian. All right, I'm gonna be back, and I'm just gonna leave. I'm gonna leave the stream on, and we're building. Okay, it's literally thundering outside, and my brothers like went out for like basically they went out for a ride, so they're like stranded right now. So I need to go pick them up, but once this is gonna be done in like 10 minutes, and then we're gonna fix it. Basically, we're gonna test it, but I think that this is gonna work. But I'll be back.
He leaves the stream running, mid-bug, to go pull his brothers out of a thunderstorm. I did mention I had come to admire him. Now, the models. To understand Matthew, you must understand that his loyalty to any given AI is total, sincere, and good for roughly 6 weeks. August 2025. A new model arrives. He greets it the way the faithful greet a comet.
Ladies and gentlemen, GPT-5 is officially out. GPT-5 is here. And we've got access to it right here. All right, so there's a GPT-5 Fast, OpenAI's latest model, powerful for daily and complex tasks alike. 272K context window. What does O3 have? 200, wow. So an extra 72,000 in the context. The same GPT model using OpenAI's fast priority processing at 2x the price. Okay. At 2x, they're 2x in the price, wow. Okay. Well, let me make sure that the stream's live and we'll get to work. Welcome everyone. GPT-5 big fail on basically its first shot to impress us. Took 5 minutes, and Opus, let's see if Opus throws the errors. Still throwing the errors. Oh wow. All right, I have news. GPT High Fast was able to one-shot our error. It one-shotted it. The error that we've been working on for about the past 30 minutes, GPT High Fast was able to get it in one try. All right, let's keep using it. Let's see. That actually didn't take as long either. Earlier it was taking like 5 minutes per prompt, but let's see. Let's try some other things because that was.
And just like that, he is reborn. GPT-5 only.
Eon just asked, is it better than Claude so far? I would say it's better than Claude. All right, so it looks like we had to use GPT-5 low, but still, it looks like it's not done yet. Something that I've noticed about GPT-5, the thing that stands out the most to me is how concise it is. Like, it's probably spends so many tokens thinking instead of outputting like context, if that makes sense. Gian also asked, is GPT-5 High Fast better than GPT-5 High? Why not try using that, by the way? Yeah, so I tried using that. Right now they said that they're experiencing high demand, so we're unable to access that model. But if you look right here, this even GPT-5 Low did better than Claude 4.1 Opus, in my opinion.
It is better than Claude, said with total conviction. Yet, in a few months, he will buy 3 subscriptions to Claude and switch to it as his daily driver, with the exact same conviction. This man is flexible, ready to change on a dime when circumstances require it.
Falcon said, what do you think about Claude Code? Falcon, I actually recently made a video about that. I made a video about that today. I'll drop a link to it. I literally tried Claude Code out for the first time today, and I was not a fan. It's very slow compared to Cursor. Here. 5 said, how about the Sonnet 4 1 million context windows they dropped? What do you mean for Claude Code? I just do not like Claude Code. I don't know why. I know that a lot of people like it. It's just like a different style of vibe coding, and I don't know if I necessarily like it. It's much slower, incredibly accurate, and the models that we have now and the tools that we have now will put you in a completely different level if you're using them correctly. So that's my background, and that's what I'm doing. British says, just curious why Cursor as opposed to CC. Not sure what CC is, but I'm definitely a fan of Cursor. Oh, Claude Code. Yeah, I don't really use Claude Code.
3 separate times in these early days, he tries the tool called Claude Code and waves it off. Slow. Not a fan. I don't really use it. He will eventually all but live inside it.
Platform where you're going to day 20, Today, we actually have something really exciting planned. Let me get everything on my end set up while I'm telling you about it. So basically today is going to be the first day that we're going to be working on a new project called ViewCreator. And what ViewCreator is it's going to fit into the fold of our projects and products at BridgeMind, because what ViewCreator is going to serve as is it's going to serve as essentially a platform for us to be able to conduct our marketing campaigns. So we're going to have a lot of products at BridgeMind, and one aspect of having a lot of products, it doesn't, sometimes it's less about the product that you build, and it's more about the actual marketing strategy that goes behind the product. So for example, you can have a really amazing app, but if nobody sees it, then your app's never gonna get anywhere, if that makes sense. But what we're trying to do is we're going to create a Next.js project that is actually going to integrate with some type of image generation API, and we're gonna be able to create actual social media content at scale. So instead of having to use Canva and do a ton of different customized work in Canva that a marketing team would do, instead we're essentially going to scale this.
Is this an original idea? No. Literally everyone and their brother vibe-coded a post-to-social media app in 2026. Startup founders try to solve real-life problems. And the one problem they all have in common is to get their product seen on social media. In fact, during his regular viewer showcase events, I have seen people rudely present apps that were basically just variations of Matthew's own products, including the ViewCreator. It's kind of rude, if you ask me, being asked onto the virtual stage on his Discord, just to present competition to the products he's trying to sell.
So let's give me 1 second here, and as I get the stream set up, we're going to get this going. But yeah, guys, welcome to day 20. Gonna get a ton done today, and you're actually going to see the very beginning of this project. So I think it's going to be interesting as well in the sense that
you can have an amazing app, but if nobody sees it, it goes nowhere. That may be the truest thing he says in 200 days. He is not a coder who markets. He is a marketer who happens to code.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. So somebody in the chat said, make something you'll use yourself, then expand on that. That's exactly what we're doing. So we know that we need a platform where we're going to be able to do our marketing from for all these different products. And right now, the biggest bottleneck is that it's really hard to market for several things at once. So what you need to figure out how to do is, how do you do like mass marketing? Because you never know, like it's probably going to take 20 apps, building 20 apps to actually get one that works. And I think that it's going to take a while to actually figure out like, hey, what app is going to be successful and how do we market this?
The strategy is spray and pray. Build 20 things, market all of them, and pray one hits. It is luck industrialized.
Guys, I'm going to admit, I actually don't know how to code that well. Like, I don't, like if you told me to just like write code and build something like this just by line for line, like writing, I wouldn't be able to do it. But now I am, because I have like a different, like I'm not really about like, oh, like let me type this code. I'm more about like the overall concept. And it used to be that you couldn't build anything like this if you didn't actually understand the programming aspect, but now you can build the stuff.
And here, this is the one he may wish he had not said aloud. I actually don't know how to code that well. In fairness, he means he no longer writes it by hand, but set it beside the full stack developer for years, he says a few weeks earlier, and you can see the two Matthews and why his own viewers argue about which one is real.
Wanted to be it's BridgeMind login page. Oh yeah, BridgeMind isn't launched yet. BridgeMind AI isn't launched yet. If you are new around here, you'll know that the project that we've been working on is viewcreator.ai. So if you want to go check that out, I'll have to check. I did see that we had some churn, but we were like very close. We're right at the $1,000 MRR mark with viewcreator.ai. And you can go check that out at viewcreator.ai. There's a link to it in the description below. But that is a way for you to basically put virality on autopilot. One of the reasons that BridgeMind is so successful, and the reason that we've gotten the reach that we have, is because of ViewCreator. So it's definitely It's a fantastic tool. I would highly advise that you go check it out, especially if you are interested in anything related to like social media marketing. It is a very good tool. Okay, this is making a lot of changes, so the music's cutting in now.
For months, the revenue scoreboard in every title is powered by ViewCreator, the marketing tool, while the brand on the thumbnail is BridgeMind. The money and the mission are, for a long while, two different companies wearing one hat.
$3,000 in MRR, and today is week 4 of the Sunday download. I'm going to be talking about what I'm seeing at BridgeMind, breaking down some of the things that happened this week, sharing my experience with you guys, as obviously we're doing something right. You guys can see the hockey stick chart here. We just totally exploded past 3,000 MRR. You can see ARR is $38,880 at BridgeMind, and MRR is now 3,240, up 305% over the last 4 weeks. I'm going to be talking about this, breaking down a couple of the things. This was another thing that happened this week, is that Elon Musk did repost not one, but 2 of my posts. So you can see here this post, if we actually just go to view post activity, you can see repost. Elon Musk did repost this post, and it got, what was it? It was like, I think the post got, 596,000 impressions, and then he reposted another one prior to that. It was this one down here. Where is it? I post so much on X now. I'm just adding a ton of value on X, and one thing that has definitely been helping BridgeMind get more visibility is posting on X. So here's the other one that he reposted. So if I go to view post activity and go to repost, Elon Musk again reposted that post. So shout out to Elon Musk. Appreciate the support there, as BridgeMind is working very hard to be able to basically create the new frontier of agentic coding and be on the cutting edge of agentic coding, and your support is greatly appreciated there. Another thing that did really well this week is I had a post.
Then it breaks open. 3,000 a month, a hockey stick chart, and a future trillionaire reposts him twice. In 2026, this is the closest thing your civilization has to being touched by a god. The revenue chart never quite looks the same again.
Well, what are you doing, right? So that's one thing that I've learned. ViewCreator taught me that. Stop overbuilding. It's not good for you. It's not helpful. It's not how you build a really good product, because like I said, day 20 to day 105, that's 85 days that I poured into this product, and the peak MRR of this product was $1,200, and it's currently at $486. Whereas with BridgeMind and the BridgeMind suite of vibe coding tools, that's already at $4,500 in MRR, and it's at $54,000 in ARR, and I've only been working on it for like less than 2 months. So that's something I've learned. Stop overbuilding, focus in, start marketing, and that's just super, super critical. Definitely learn.
The man is capable of brutal honesty about his own products. A bit late, but better than never. And now we reach the strangest week in the entire record. I will tell it carefully, because it is very easy to tell unfairly. It begins, as prophecies do, as a joke. Day 17. A viewer dares him to make a coin. He riffs. BridgeCoin. Get your wallets ready. Just kidding. He even calls it, himself, a pump and dump. Note the date. 4 months pass.
Somebody in the chat, he said, he's joking, he said, Claude, make me an app that continuously makes shitcoins until I'm a millionaire. I mean, honestly, that could be the next theme in the next stream. I mean, what's up, guys? I mean, you guys want to do a quick crypto scam, or what's up? How you guys feeling? BridgeCoin. How you guys feel about BridgeCoin? Bilal, he said, oh nice, I can see you made progress. Are you starting to build a web front and on top of the back end? That is correct. That is correct. If you guys are just tuning in, make sure you like and subscribe. We've been grinding. BridgeCoin coming soon. Get your crypto wallets ready. Just kidding. Professor of Logic said BridgeCoin pump and dump. I got $2 on it. $2. I mean, you don't want to put bet the whole farm. Put the whole. I just want to say any like crypto coins that you guys see are all scams, by the way. Yeah, anything that's on like bags, it's all scams. I wouldn't buy any of it. I don't support or approve any cryptocurrency. This code base isn't very big. We just started this today. So, yeah, any crypto is a scam. Not interested in any of that. Yeah, if you guys know anything about me, it's not about the money. So, any crypto is a complete scam. I do not support any crypto. All right, the page now looks cleaner. Let's check it out. Any of the crypto people, just ban them in chat. They're just scammers. Do a perma ban on any.
And in those 4 months, he is not merely crypto neutral. He is militantly anti-crypto. Any crypto is a scam. Perma ban anyone who brings it up. For days. Nobody saw the moment coming where he turned 180 degrees overnight.
Today's list is a bridge poll. This, I always knew that there would be some crypto aspect to BridgeMind, and I expected that we would be launching what I refer to as BridgeCoin, which is going to be the world's first fully vibe-coded cryptocurrency sometime in 2026. Now, what I want to talk about is when we started going viral and when we started to get all of this visibility, there were hundreds of cryptos being created. This has become an issue for us because there's a ton of scams out there that are scamming people with the BridgeMind name, that are putting out all of this garbage, that are, raiding our community, that are doing all of these things. And the only way for us to be able to actually get ahead of this is to be able to pretty much embrace it, I would say. And we're embracing this in the best possible way. And we are creating something new that you are going to see here behind me. The number one goal on today's list is a bridge poll. And you may be wondering, what is a bridge poll? Well, let me talk to you about that. So you can see that revenue is over $30,000 now. And because of that exposure to the crypto world, I just want to show you what I'm looking at here, okay? So here is the BridgeMind coin on bags, okay? This is the platform that people were putting out a ton of cryptocurrencies on, a bunch of meme coins on, right? And they were all scams, okay? There were literally hundreds of them, okay? So we got out ahead of this, we've embraced it, and pretty much I purchased 20% of the float here. You can see that there is a 20% treasury that we have. And one thing that I want to talk a little bit about is that I've always been incredibly passionate about cryptocurrency since I was a teenager. I was in organizations, and here I have 20%. And we're going to be creating something that I'm calling a bridge poll. And if you guys are familiar with the crypto space, what a lot of creators do is they'll get a big audience, and then they'll put out these coins, and then they will basically rug pull their audience, okay? And we're going to be inventing a new phrase that is the exact opposite of that. Instead of selling these coins, selling this 20%, we're going to be burning all of these coins. As a sign of credibility, a sign of integrity, we're going to be pulling a bridge poll, which is the exact opposite of a rug pull. And I'm now going to be burning these coins using Claude Code. So let's get the music on and let's burn all these coins.
Then, one morning, he buys 20% of a coin bearing his own name. The framing is clever. Scammers were already making fake bridge coins, so he made the official one to get ahead of them, and to prove his purity, he would burn his entire share. A bridge pull, he calls it. The opposite of a rug pull. It is genuinely a novel piece of theater. There is just one problem with theater. It has to actually work.
The screenshots, and we're now working with this Claude agent here, and we're going to be burning all 200 million bridge coins because I have no intention, no desire on selling any of the coins. I don't even want them. I don't want the money. We're going to be burning all of the coins as a testament to trustworthiness, integrity, and credibility in the crypto space. So this is an irreversible financial decision. Burning tokens permanently destroys them. I'm not able to provide financial advice or assist with executing financial transactions. Okay, so it's basically telling me you're an idiot for doing this. Okay, hold on here. No, I want you to tell me what address I would need to send these to burn them. And I hope that, with this as a factor, that we stop all of the scams. And that's the thing, is that I knew that BridgeMind would have a pretty large, definitely a large exposure to the crypto industry. And I would just say that, it did happen a little bit faster than I initially anticipated. you know, and we're gonna burn these because, yeah, I don't want the money. You know, for me, it's all about the mission. It's all about building the future. I'm not able, so it literally won't, it thinks I'm so stupid that it won't, you know, let me go through with it. So let's pull up Claude.
Even his own AI tries to stop him. Asked to help destroy $100,000, the machine refuses, on ethical grounds, and gently implies he is being an idiot.
Yeah, so I'm gonna burn $153,000. Let's send this off. We're sending. Send failed, cannot read properties of the end. Hold on, let's fix that. What is the issue here? Why is it saying it can't read the properties? All right, it says refresh the page and try again. All right, we're gonna refresh. All right, send. All right, can I burn 100? Let's just test with one. Will one work? Why is it not burning? I cannot read properties. Okay. Maybe. All right, unfortunately, we are unable to incinerate all the tokens, so I took that off. We're gonna need to figure out how to do that. I was hoping that we'd be able to incinerate everything. If you guys see this, look at this. I have lighter fluid, I have matches, and after we incinerated all the tokens, I was gonna light that on fire. But I don't know why I can't incinerate them.
And then the burn simply will not burn for 2.5 hours. He pivots to locking the coins. He tweets the platform's founder for help. He had lighter fluid and matches ready for a finale he never gets to light. The grand gesture of integrity spends most of its afternoon as an error message.
Phantom, but I've incinerated 200 million coins. Can I view this transaction? Let me see, just to confirm. Yeah, so here it is on SoulScan. I'm gonna post this. Let's go, chat. So for everybody that thinks that, you know, everybody that, you know, basically does crypto is a scammer, I just incinerated $100,000 because BridgeMind, here's the thing, is that we are going to be, you know, we are going to have exposure to the crypto industry. There's no getting around that, right? When you're building in public as a fully public organization, you're going to have exposure in the crypto industry. And the thing is that what we want to do is we want to put our best foot forward in this industry, and we're not going to be, you know, scamming people. We're not going to be rug pulling people. I just did a bridge pull, which is where you incinerate all of the founding tokens, which was 200 million tokens. It was 20% of the float. And I still get 1% of the fees, which is going to be a great way for us to take the next step. But remember, the reason that we did this was, number one, to stop all scams.
He gets there, eventually. He exports his key, incinerates 200 million tokens, and shows you the proof on the blockchain. $100,000 gone, on camera. And this is the part the believers skip and the critics seize. He keeps 1% of every trade forever.
And here's an interesting part about building in public in general. We actually talked about this on stream yesterday. And if you guys missed the stream yesterday, I think you missed a pretty big one. Is that when you're doing build in public, you are going to have crypto exposure. And the thing about crypto is that when people talk about crypto, there's so much negative connotations that come into crypto. And here's the thing, is that from like very early on in this journey, I knew that BridgeMind would be involved in some way, shape, or form in the crypto industry. And we're doing it in an intelligent way that emphasizes trust and credibility, because later on this year, we are going to be building the world's first fully vibe-coded cryptocurrency called BridgeCoin. And this is a step towards that, right? So we have revenue that has jumped. This is going to allow us to be able to fund different initiatives like the Vibeathon, where we can now offer $5,000. But I hope that, you know, it does come through for the people that are listening, that do hear me, that do have gotten to know me, is that, hey, this comes from a place of just being genuine and transparent of the fact that, hey, we're going to be in the crypto industry. That's what some of the investors that I'm talking about want. I think that it is an asset of BridgeMind as a company.
Which is why the next day, Two sentences are both true and sit very awkwardly side by side. I burned $100,000 and the revenue is jumping because we entered crypto. When the accusations come, he does act hurt. I've been transparent for 122 days and now it's scam, scam, scam.
All right, we do need to add BridgeCoin to the roadmap. Add BridgeCoin to the roadmap. This is going to be the world's first fully vibe-coded cryptocurrency. I need you to help me update the page here. Note that we incinerated or burned the entirety of the treasury in an effort to build trust and credibility in the crypto industry, putting an end to scams, emphasizing the fact that BridgeMind is about, hold on. BridgeMind. All right, BridgeMind is not about money, it is about the mission. Okay, the product, BridgeCoin, that's going in the roadmap, but we're also adding this.
Watch him narrate the official version of events into his own website, in real time. He is not hiding the spin, he is performing it. There is an honesty in that I cannot quite dismiss.
Yeah, if you guys want to see, so this is the tweet that went viral. We basically got posted by Levels. Then as you guys know, we did a bridge poll where we basically launched a crypto coin and then proceeded to burn over $100,000 on stream. You guys can go check it out. The big part of the tweet is mission over money. This happened in what, day 121? But this is big. So here is the viral tweet. Where is it? All right, this one has over 1 million hits, 1 million views, and then we also got posted by Levels, which got like 1.6, and then another guy posted us and got this guy, Amrit. This is so funny. All right, this guy, he posted a post as well, and it got like 2.6. Yeah, it was this. So this one here, this one got 2.9 million views. So yeah, we went pretty viral on X there.
And it works. The clip goes viral. Mission over money. Millions of views. Whatever else the coin chapter was, it was the best marketing he ever did.
You know, it was one of the things that when I looked up as, you know, when I was early in college of, hey, this is something that is going to be a part of the future is blockchain technology. And I think that there is potentially utility in blockchain in that instance because the agents will have a protocol to be able to pay one another. Just kind of interesting to think about what things will look like. But I think that
where I stand in 2085, he is not wrong about that one either. He simply arrived, as usual, early and sideways.
All right, guys, we did just hit 300 likes, so it's time for a quick tour of the Airbnb. I'll show you guys around a little bit. All right, so I'm going to move, I think. Let's check this out, guys. All right. I'll show you guys around a little bit. The first thing I'll do is I'll just show you guys like, hey, here's the setup. From my perspective, I literally have this chair set up. This is so, like, I don't even know. This is ramshackle, but this is it. I'll show you guys outside for a second here. Let's go this way. Show you guys the ocean. So what I like is there's like this balcony, which is nice. Balcony's nice. Here is the cold plunge. The cold plunge is out here. I did bring it. So the cold plunge is right there. It's not inflated yet, so at some point we're gonna have to do that. And then here's the ocean. I don't know, what do you guys think? But this is where I'll be for 2 weeks. So I mean, it is nice to be out here, and we'll probably, I mean, we're gonna be streaming for 12 hours a day. So what's cool is that you guys are gonna be able to see me not only like just be like grinding and stuff, but also we're gonna be able to kind of like hang out a little bit and do stuff around here. But that's not too bad. Ocean and sun is nice. It's nice, and I can't even get out. I'm gonna have to, at some point I am gonna leave and I'm gonna get out, but I had to set all this stuff up. So let me pull up the chat.
He drives to a beach house to work harder. This is where I'll be for 2 weeks, he says, showing you the water. I don't have access to the full stream, but Johanna told me he got sick and drove home the next day. The 2 weeks never happened. I find the clip lovelier for it.
You guys, I don't know if you guys can tell, but I am just sick. So I'm hoping that, I feel better tomorrow, but there may be like some issues with that. But ultimately, you guys are going to get to see me not only just, in my normal workflow, but like later on this evening, for example, I'm going to be like totally locked in flow state. Like, during
He streams anyway, visibly ill. Because, and this recurse showing up is the product, not the app, the showing up.
I want to share a very critical aspect in my perspective now that I've learned throughout this journey so far, and that is the aspect in the concept of staying power. And a lot of people, they may wonder what actually is staying power. And I'm going to share that with you guys in this video and share my perspective on it. It's just going to be very raw and uncut. I'm going to be streaming in a couple hours. So I just want to share a little bit about this concept because I think it's important and I think about it a lot. So staying power to me is one's ability to actually stay in the arena, okay? So when you're in the arena, there's gonna be a lot that's gonna happen, okay? There's gonna be good things that happen, there's gonna be bad things that happen. For example, there's been times in this journey over the past 131 days where things have been incredibly difficult for me. I mean, I'm not even kidding. There's been times during this journey where I've had my head in my hands and I've questioned whether I ever should have started doing this in the first place. And I share that because when you go through that experience, when you question, should I have even done this? And you keep going, despite that, that's how you prove who you are. That's how.
It's these moments where his relentless schedule is getting to him that he seems the most human.
To this journey, there are difficult days, there are easy days, but I think that to look at this and just to be like, yeah, after 60 days, I had only made $1,000 in revenue. After, let's see here, 100 days, I was not even past $2,000 in revenue. And it's like, hey, now you look at it and it's like, okay, 53,000 in ARR, that we're in, a much better setup. We have equipment, we have all of these different things that we didn't have. And I think when you do that, when you show up when it's difficult and you just say to yourself, yeah, I'm going to do this, you will be able to look back over that time period of all the effort and all the time that you've put in, and you will be able to see your accomplishment. And if you look back at this series, you will be able to see that. And this is only the beginning. We're at 54,000 in ARR, and we're not stopping anytime soon. We're going to get to 1 million.
He's getting somewhere, though his numbers are always a bit dubious. And not just because he does not factor in expenses.
Business, I'll just pull up the Stripe dashboard and show you guys. So if you go to BridgeMind, you can see everything about BridgeMind, okay? I started BridgeMind in my college dorm room a couple of years ago, but I'll just show this to you. So for example, yesterday we brought in $665, which that was actually a pretty light day yesterday. If I go to, so far today, we've made 245. And if you go to MRR, here's the MRR, okay? So $17,782 in MRR, okay? If you go to the last 3 months, this is what it looks like. So we've done 64,000 in gross volume. We've done 55,000 in net volume. The MRR, which is the recurring monthly revenue, okay? What that means is that every month I'm gonna get $17,782 based off of the existing subscriptions, okay? So the annual recurring revenue, that is how much I will make this year based off of these recurring subscriptions that we're getting, right? So that's why the revenue in the title, ARR, is a great scoreboard to have because it can go up and it can go down, which I think is the best reflection of an entrepreneur's journey.
Now, let me be precise about the famous numbers because, to his credit, he is precise about them himself. The $200,000 figure is a projection. The actual money on a real day is a few $100s.
Also, guys, if you guys, this is Bridge Space, so just so you guys know, if you guys watch BridgeMind or are familiar with BridgeMind, I am on a journey of vibe coding an app until I make $1 million. And currently, we're at 200,000 in ARR. Let's do a quick revenue check and see where we're at for today. And then for anybody that would be interested in using Bridge Space, which is my ADE, it's an agentic development environment, and then Bridge Voice is the voice to text tool that I use. I'm about to generate, we're gonna do a quick fire sale. I'm gonna give you guys a substantial discount if you want to get Bridge Space and Bridge Voice. But currently, this is what we're looking at, okay? So if you guys are vibe coders or you don't know if vibe coding works, okay, vibe coding does build real production software. Also, guys, I will be live tomorrow for day 191 of vibe coding an app until I make $1 million. You know what makes me the most excited is when you get a model like this that does make it so that like there's things that were not possible with the model previously, and then you're using the model and you're like, oh, I just solved this bug that I've been trying to solve for 2 months and it one-shot it. And you see it do that. That's what I look for in a model that tells me, okay, new things are going to be possible with this model, okay? And what I'm seeing so far with Fable 5 is I'm seeing that new things are now possible. We created literally like a GTA 6 remake in one shot. We created a horror game in one shot. We fixed this bug with Bridge Voice.
But here's what the skeptics owe him. At 200,000 a year, in real subscriptions, from real people, he did build a real software business. By talking to machines, in public, on camera, nearly every day, for the better part of a year. Vibe coding, he says, does build real production software. On the evidence of the scoreboard, that one is simply true. And that if you have somewhere to be is the whole story. A self-taught marketer taught a machine to build, grew an audience while it did, survived a coin, and turned it all into a real, if modest, business in roughly 200 days. You may leave the field study here, if all you needed to know was a brief intro into the BridgeMind phenomenon. Welcome back, patient ones. First, how does he actually build? Because the answer is both genuinely novel and genuinely reckless, often in the same breath. Here he is, launching 10 agents at once.
I just want to give a big shout out to the BridgeMind community because they have been reporting bugs these past couple days. What's up, everybody? I just want to give a big shout out to the BridgeMind community because they have been reporting bugs these past couple days with ViewCreator. And I have a list of bugs here. Essentially, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be launching, technically it's 12 AI agents at once, but the title of the video is going to be running 10 Codex agents at once, because essentially we have 10 tasks here that this agent up in the right-hand corner created based on bugs that were found in the application. So with that being said, we're just going to dive right into it and we're going to see what this looks like and if it's able to solve all these bugs. I'm going to put my face up here in the top right. And we're just going to launch all these Codex agents at once. 1, 2, 3, 4, because they have been reporting bugs. These are now coming up on 9 minutes here. And what I've found is that you can actually one-shot with GPT-5 Codex High very well, especially if you use this workflow where essentially what we're doing is we're dropping in a bunch of readmes that are plans. Like, look at this readme. Readme number 1, credits real-time sync. Credits cache invalidation, a real-time refresh hook. So it's building that. It created the plan in another chat, and to be able to create that plan, it evaluated the bug. Then what it did is that it then actually reviewed the code. Then in the README, it said, hey, in this file, on this line, you're gonna need to update this, and this is how you're gonna do it, right? And then when you pass that into fresh window, then that agent can focus on that specifically. It doesn't have to plan it out. It doesn't have to waste tokens planning it out. Another agent already did that. So you're essentially building a workflow where you have a planner and then an actual doer, an actual programmer. So, and then you obviously rest at the top managing these AI agents. And I do think that this is what the future is going to look like. So it looks like a lot of these
The core technique is real and rather good. One agent writes a plan, hands it to a fresh agent that only executes a planner and a doer, and he sits on top, managing. In my era, we call this an org chart. He reinvented middle management and staffed it entirely with software.
Yes, you don't want a bunch of AI agents working on the same file, right? That is very bad and it can cause problems. And actually, on stream the other day, I did have the agents cross, right? And it is not good when you do that. It can actually really be bad because essentially what I've experienced and what will happen is if you have these two agents cross, what ends up happening is the agent essentially sees, okay, I essentially just crossed, another agent, like the file that I was looking at is now completely different, right? Because let's say that you pass in to an agent, let's just say the homepage of your website, right? And you say completely, build a new UI for the homepage. Let's just use that example, right? Because it's simple, right? So then let's say you go over to another agent while that other agent is working. The other agent took a look at that original page of the website and it said, okay, here's how it looks. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's how I'm going to change things, right? And it starts working and thinking and processing and building, right? But it hasn't actually updated the file. And then you pass into the other agent, I want you to do X, Y, Z, right? And then that agent looks at the original file and it starts working, right? And then that agent, let's say it makes an update before the other one is done, right? What I've seen is it actually ends up rolling things back. So the other day when I had this issue, I was working on a billing page, right? And the billing page, I needed it updated so that it pulled in like the credit activity of users for ViewCreator.ai. And these two agents crossed, right? And one of the agents had actually made a lot of progress and I was like, sweet, this is great, right? But then another one of my agents accidentally did cross the path, and what ended up happening is that it rolled it back, right? So it rolled back the updates that I had actually liked. So I was like, dang, I was like, that stinks. So, you know, that's what you have to be wary of, and that was...
And the reckless half. Point two agents at the same file and they collide, one quietly undoing the other's work. He has lost good code this way, live, on stream. He knows it happens. He does it anyway, because the alternative is slowing down, and slowing down is the one thing this man will not do.
Professor of Logic said, do you ever go in there and tweak things yourself, or are you letting AI handle all the tweaks? I let AI handle all the tweaks. I am essentially just a human being that's in the driver's seat, and I let it do all the work, like the heavy lifting on the programming side of things, and I just kind of review it and think about how I want to fix it or what I want it to do, and then I just tell it what to do. Does is really good. They have these nice to-dos, just a really good UI, and it allows me to see the code if I ever need to actually review the code, which is becoming basically like I hardly ever review the code at this point. The AI models are so good. But, you know, I use cursor. Speech to text makes you a lot faster. Yeah, speech to text is like I can type at about 100 words per minute and then I speak at about 172. So in terms of me being able to speak out my prompts, it's just a much more efficient way to be vibe coding and working in general. Like I even use speech to text when I'm just using my computer in general now. I don't like really use my keyboard that much.
And the philosophy hardens over time. I'm just the human in the driver's seat. I hardly ever review the code at this point. He prompts by voice 172 words a minute and barely touches a keyboard. Which, and I say this with feeling, is the single most 2085 thing he does.
The AI tools that exist now, like Opus 4.6 inside of Claude Code, GPT 5.4 inside of Codex, these coding agents are off the charts in terms of their capabilities. I've been vibe coding for over 3 years. And there was definitely a transition period about a year ago when vibe coding exploded onto the scene, because what you're able to do is you're able to just quickly launch coding agents inside of your code base to be able to work for you. So I just launched 6 Claude agents inside of my agentic development environment called BridgeSpace, which is a product that I've actually built. And I can just give it a quick prompt. I can say, I want you to review the project and fix any errors, you know, and that's a bad prompt. But just to show you guys, it's like if you guys are unaware, and you can now create production grade software with vibe coding. And there are some drawbacks, there's some limitations that are obvious to anybody that is a vibe coder or an agentic coder. They're very obvious now. But the thing is that you can now do more than ever before.
He'll concede the drawbacks vaguely. Obvious to anyone who does this. He's right that you can now build more than ever before. He's just allergic to finishing the sentence about what it costs. Which brings us to what happens when it breaks. And the flagship example is a real denial of service attack, live, on stream.
Do you see how it's loading? Do you see that error? Oh, what just happened? So this is where I realized that something was wrong here. This is a test. So then I started testing it, and it was taking a really long time to transcribe. So it basically, I was using Bridge Voice, which is the BridgeMind voice to text tool, and it was taking a ton of time to process the request, and then the request was failing. And that doesn't happen on Bridge Voice. So I knew something was wrong. So then you guys can see that the first thing that I did was, hey, go figure out what's happening and go block all of this traffic with the web application firewall. And Claude Code was able to see what was happening and then immediately update our web application firewall to block the traffic. But this ended up only being a band-aid.
Watch the prompt. Someone's attacking us, figure out where it's coming from, and fix it immediately. No analysis. No plan. He describes the disaster to the machine in plain English and asks it to make the disaster stop. And uncomfortably, for the skeptics, it largely works. A firewall rule in minutes. A band-aid. But a working one?
Okay, so this is the conversation that I had with ChatGPT yesterday. So just so you know, the existing infrastructure was I'm on AWS and I was using WAF over on AWS, but it turns out that this is actually not the best approach, especially for stopping DDoS attacks. So check this out. So it says for most public web apps, Cloudflare is usually the best frontline DDoS protection layer, especially if you want quick protection by moving DNS and proxying traffic through Cloudflare. Cloudflare is better than AWS in a couple of key areas, so it's better at putting a protective edge in front of your site quickly, which is what we actually needed to do, and it's really good at absorbing common L3, L4, and L7 attacks at the edge. So this is what I saw yesterday, and I was like, okay, let's get all of our DNS records moved over to Cloudflare. I was using Route 53, but if you look at AWS, the only way that you're going to use AWS is if you have AWS Shield Advanced, okay? And Shield Advanced costs $36,000 per year. So once I saw this, and once I put that Band-Aid on those requests, right? And it stopped the attacker, but then they moved to something else. So that's when I realized, okay, we need to get this moved over to Cloudflare. So
he even does the homework afterward. The proper protection would cost $36,000 a year, so he moves to a cheaper edge service. Sound reasoning arrived at backwards, why the building was already on fire. A commenter notes, correctly, that 10 lines of code beforehand would have prevented all of it. But that commenter is not the one with tens of thousands of spectators gazing at the fire and the aftermath. People want a spectacle, even just for an opportunity to nitpick, and Matthew's streams offer a lot of both.
Real software. And when I was using Opus 4.8 in real software, I found that it was able to build some functionality that Opus 4.7 and GPT 5.5 failed to build. But I actually had a fairly big problem yesterday while I was using Opus 4.8. I spun up hundreds of agents inside of Ultra Code mode. As you guys can see here, I literally had 105 agents that were working inside of BridgeSpace that were trying to identify ways that we can improve the performance for BridgeSpace across all operating systems. I went through multiple workflows of being able to review the diffs and ensure that there were no breaking changes. And once I tested this, I did ship this to production. I shipped a new version of BridgeSpace out. And that's when I started to find a pretty significant bug inside of BridgeSpace in production. You can see here that here is a bug report, text rendering broken in version 3.0.78. And you can see this bug report here. And then you can see that a couple other users started to report this bug. You can see this is what was happening. The text rendering of the terminals was not working. What I ended up having to do is I literally had to then revert BridgeSpace back to a previously safe commit, and I then had to push that update to production. You can see that I'm on version 3.0.83 here, and this is actually technically version 3.0.72 because I continued to try and fix this bug that was introduced by Opus 4.8. I even tried using GPT 5.5 with this bug. I tried using Opus 4.8 Ultra Code with the bug. I tried using Cursor, Opus 4.8 Fast for the bug, but every time it failed to find the issue.
But the purest specimen of the method is this. He spun up 105 agents to improve performance, shipped it to production, and broke the program for real users. Then the AI that introduced the bug failed to fix the bug it had introduced. 8 times. He reverted everything. A bug that wasn't there, made by 105 machines, that not one of them could undo. His top commenter said it best. Nobody's going to talk about how insane it is to spawn 105 agents just to make something a little faster.
Running, this is long. Very interesting to see that happen. Let's do BridgeMind UI here, and I need you to launch 200 sub-agents and do a complete performance. Oh, whoa, look at this. This one, whoa. They're all crashing. They all just crashed. Oh my gosh, he couldn't take the sub-agents. Wait, too many files? Wait, what just happened? It just crashed? Thread, SES,
panicked at Crate's CodeGen XAI Grok Shell SRC session. Okay. All right, that's great. All right, we just crashed Grok build because we launched way too many sub-agents. That is so funny. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's see if we can launch less sub-agents.
We just crashed Grok build. That is so funny. It is. A little.
Used. No way, it actually got it, guys. Okay. Chat. Okay. I will say this. You guys may have missed it, but I did see it. And you guys, do you see it right here? Guys, this literally was impossible to do with GPT 5.5 in Opus 4.8, and it's finally doing it correctly. Oh my gosh. All right, so that's actually huge. It may look small, but did you guys see that there where it was showing the message? And it's even testing it right now. It literally is testing it. It's smart enough that it's testing it. Okay, here's the bridge horror house. Oh my gosh.
And then, occasionally, the magic is real. A bug he chased for 2 months that no model could touch, solved in a single shot by a new one. This is the emotional engine of the whole channel. Long stretches of breakage, punctuated by a miracle, on camera. He is addicted to the miracle. So, frankly, are his viewers. So, if I'm honest, am I, at this point, the products? He builds a great many, and they all begin with the word bridge. The flagship is BridgeSpace, a workspace for running swarms of agents. And his proudest pitch is also his most revealing. I built BridgeSpace using BridgeSpace.
145 days of vibe coding, and BridgeSpace is the agentic development environment of the future. After 145 days of vibe coding an app until I make $1 million, BridgeMind is officially launching BridgeSpace. BridgeSpace empowers builders to ship code at the speed of thought by giving them the tools needed to succeed in the new age of software development. As you can see here, I've launched an agent swarm with 2 coordinators working with 5 the entire swarm. I built BridgeSpace using BridgeSpace, and in order to be able to show you guys how to make the most of this product, I want to show you 2 core features of BridgeSpace. So you have a BridgeSpace, which is a workspace where, let's just do this one, so I can navigate into whatever project directory I want. So I'm just going to navigate into BridgeMind for now, and then I'm going to pick how many Claude agents or Codex agents I want. So for now, I can launch up to 16 terminal sessions, depending on how many agents you're able to manage at once, and then you can just select which agents you actually want to use inside of this workspace. So I'm going to use 2 Codex, 1 Gemini, and then let's do 1 cursor agent. And I'm going to launch this workspace, and just like that, you're able to quickly launch workspaces of AI agents to allow you and enable you to build at the speed of thought. Bridge Swarm is
a tool that builds itself. In my time, we'd call that bootstrapping.
Is you're able to set these particular agents as they have like jobs, okay? So for example, the coordinators, I will configure these coordinators, and I always configure them with Codex because Codex has very good coordinator capabilities. Then for my builders, I'm using Claude because Claude is able to write code incredibly well.
He casts the models like a film. This one coordinates, this one builds, this one scouts. The agents send each other little messages. How are you feeling? He has built an office out of software, including the friendly chatter by the non-existent coffee machine.
And then for my scouts, I'm using Gemini. And then for my reviewers, I'm also using Codex. So Obsidian out of the box, and this is actually what's caused me to build a new feature inside of BridgeSpace called Bridge Memory. So if you go up here, there's now a new feature inside of BridgeSpace called Bridge Memory. Let's go over here and I'll show you guys how this works. So for example, it's very similar to Obsidian, but instead of us having to continuously prompt for our Claude Code agent to use Obsidian, this actually comes out of the box in BridgeSpace. This is the bridge memory that you can use as related to the API. And this is the biggest problem that I have with Obsidian currently. It's, hey, it doesn't very intuitively integrate with Claude Code unless you figure out a very good way to prompt it. There's some tooling required that doesn't come out of the box with Obsidian that's a little bit difficult to set.
Now, are they any good? Here is the honest texture. He demonstrates a memory feature, live, and it silently fails. It claims it saved the node. The node isn't there. His sharpest critic calls the whole operation a Claude wrapper, built purely off audio prompts, not a single document read. That is a bit harsh, but not entirely inaccurate.
And, we have when, the next Opus model comes out, or the next Gemini model comes out, or the next GPT model comes out, and I have a stream where the stream is vibe coding with GPT-6, right? That stream is going to get thousands and thousands and thousands of views. And if I can have a voice-to-text tool where when people are asking what voice-to-text tool are you using, and I don't have to say Whisper Flow and give them basically the promotion for that, but I can say I'm using our own proprietary tool, BridgeCat. It's priced cheaper than Whisper Flow, and it does the job well.
He's candid about why he built some of them too. He made his own voice-to-text tool partly so he'd stop giving a competitor free advertising every time a viewer asked what he uses.
In the BridgeMind community, we do project sharing events, and I've seen time and time again, people share feature after feature after feature after feature. And one question, I don't want to be bashful when I say this, but how many users do you have? And if the answer to that is like less than 100 and you have all these features, well, maybe it's time to stop building features and to start honing in on what could really help the end consumer, and to then build that out and start marketing and then iterate after that. If you get 100 users and they start to talk about what they want, then build what else they want. But if you build a massive platform that has no users or very minimal paying subscribers, well, what are you doing, right?
And buried in a reflection is the best product advice in the entire archive, which he gives freely to others and almost never takes himself. How many users do you have? If it's under 100 and you've got all these features, stop building features.
In this video, I'm going to be cloning myself into a Hermes agent. Over the past 171 days, I've been vibe coding an app until I make $1 million. Current ARR is at 154,000. And what I did yesterday is I literally transcribed every single one of my live streams over the past 9 months. Check this out. You can literally go all the way back to day 1 in BridgeClone, and here's the transcript. Every single word that was spoken on day 1 of vibe coding an app until I make $1 million. Here's every word that was spoken on day 3. Here's every word that was spoken on day... This is insane. So it says, here's my executive summary. Matthew is a 23-year-old Purdue finance student turned solo founder running BridgeMind, a multi-product agentic organization he treats more like a movement than a startup. He live streams himself building it every day, no exceptions, in a multi-month series titled Vibe Coding to $1 million. His revenue scoreboard is in every video title. He went from $0 to 100K MRR over roughly 167 days of public daily streaming. He sees himself in priority order as builder, vibe coder, entrepreneur, operator of AI agents, community leader, reluctantly content creator. This is picking up on everything. These Hermes agents, we have 5 total. What I want to do is I want Matthew to be an orchestrator of these Hermes agents. And now that it has everything about my personality over the last 171 days integrated into it, what I now want to build into that soul and into that identity is that it is going to help me orchestrate some of these other Hermes agents. And then instead of me having to interact with all of the Hermes agents, maybe we can just interact with Matthew, where Matthew is then going to be the orchestrator of the other Hermes agents. So let's give it a prompt to do that as well. Note that I now want you to also integrate into your soul and your identity that you are going to be assisting Matthew with practical level orchestration of his business BridgeMind. You are going to help him manage his Hermes agents, and you are going to help him manage things like his email strategy and other elements. But you need to always be following Matthew's principles and his personality, because you're going to be working with him and you basically are a clone of him. So go back over your soul and over your identity and update it with these things, and make sure you integrate even more aspects of who Matthew Miller is as a person into your soul and your identity. Okay, guys, I think we're done. If you look at this, you can see that it expanded the soul and the identity, and here's what it integrated. You guys can pause the video and read over this if you want, but you can see that, like, hey, this is my personality: builder first, mission monk discipline, high conviction, transparent operator, practical optimism, agentic thinker, community builder, protective of trust, founder operator cadence, low tolerance for vague work, dog food the system. So these are all things that are true about me, and we'll continue to refine this, but I now have an Hermes agent that is essentially a clone of myself, and it's going to help me in the orchestration of these other Hermes agents, and it's also going to help me manage everything.
And then there is the day he transcribes 836 hours of himself, points 50 agents at the recordings, and asks them to reverse engineer his own soul into a document so that a machine can run as him. The machine's portrait of him is, by his own admission, devastatingly accurate. His top commenter called it dangerous levels of AI psychosis. Matthew went on to tweak his soul several times. I guess Johanna and I did something similar with this very documentary project, building our own virtual copy of Matthew, based on video transcripts and stray YouTube comments.
Claude is absolutely amazing. This is my daily driver for coding. If you guys watch my live streams, as I've been vibe coding an app until I make $1 million for the last 147 days, Claude is my main driver, and it didn't always used to be that way. I think that once, it was probably Sonnet 4 when things just started to change a little bit. ChatGPT was way ahead, but with the release of Claude Code and then the release of some better models like Opus 4.5, Claude has just totally taken the lead. You can check any leaderboard like Ella Marina and see that Claude models are just superior in coding, not in all areas of coding, but for general purpose, Claude models for coding are the best. And with the 20, I can also do vertical. So I'm going to give it a chance. First impressions, I'm not impressed, but we're going to continue to use this just like on stream, because I will say one thing that they did do with this release is at least made GPT models usable again. Okay, like if we go back over here, I used to be a daily user of Codex. Look at this. So if you go back here, you can see I was literally I used it all of October. I used it every single day up until it looks like November 13th. So I was using GPT-5 Codex. Did I miss a single day? You guys can pause the video and look at it. It doesn't look like it to me like I missed. I guess that October 24th is the only day I missed. But you can see like, hey, I used to spend 277 million in that day, 187 million that day, 162, 335 million. So I used to use these models a ton, and then I completely stopped. You can see that between November 13th, I only used it a handful of times.
Each new model gets the full liturgy: hype, test, verdict, conversion. GPT-5. 2. Not impressed after 300 million tokens. Crowns the next Claude instead and moves on.
Bench just proved it. Yes, Claude Opus 4.6 is being nerfed by Anthropic, and BridgeBench just proved it. Yesterday morning, we reran Claude Opus 4.6 through the BridgeBench hallucination benchmark, and what we found was that the model increased its hallucination rate on this last run by 98%. And then this morning, we actually reran Claude Opus 4.5 through the benchmark for the first time. We actually had not benchmarked Claude Opus 4.5 in this benchmark before. And look at this. Claude Opus 4.5 now outperforms Claude Opus 4.6 on this hallucination benchmark, meaning that for some reason, Anthropic has lowered the reasoning capabilities of Claude Opus 4.6, but it appears that Claude Opus 4.5 has not been affected in the same way. You can see that Claude Opus 4.5 gets an accuracy of 72.3%, while Opus 4.6 gets 68.3%. So Opus 4.5 is better than Opus 4.6 on this benchmark by 5%, which is actually quite meaningful. There is a ton of speculation going on the internet right now. People are saying that release from Anthropic. But with that being said, I do want to draw your attention to BridgeBench and note that I am running everything that you see on this benchmark personally. I have had AI labs that you would actually be very surprised reach out to me about poor performances on BridgeBench, and they have actually offered me money to be able to re-benchmark their model. I don't want their money and I don't need their money, because what I want BridgeBench to become is the #1 vibe coding AI benchmark in the world. You guys can see here that over the past...
And then it gets spicy. He claims on his own benchmark that a company is secretly weakening its own model. And he goes further, that Frontier Labs quietly emailed him, offering money to rerun their scores, and that he turned them down. I have no way to verify it. 60 years on, he offers no receipts, and you're free to be skeptical. But he states it plainly, to camera. And it fits the role he's written for himself. The incorruptible outsider. The one benchmark the labs can't buy. Make of that what you will.
Capable model when it comes to most other benchmarks. Look at this. So most of the things that we tested are purely related to design. And what you guys can see is that this model is just not good at design. So for us visually, right? You know, people jump to Claude as a model because they see the design that it creates and they're like, wow, look at the output that's created that you can see visually. But when you look at other things, look at Grok 4.3. Grok 4.3 ranks higher than Claude Opus 4.7 on security. It ranks number 7 on hallucination. This is now number 1 on the hallucination benchmark. Look at this, 79.8. This model is number 1 on the hallucination benchmark, which is something that Grok is...
His most contrarian instinct is also his best. Don't sleep on the underdog. He'll champion a smaller, cheaper model that the whole crowd ignores, and he is often right, before the crowd is.
0.7 code, which released on recurring pattern with Kimi K 2.7. I'm just going to expand this agent here. What even is this? Do you see this? I think the model is screaming out for help or something. I don't know what's going on. For the agent, has it depleted all of my credits? So let me show you what I'm talking about a little bit more. So when you look at this chart, this is a benchmark on artificial analysis that shows the cost per task for these models. And what you guys are going to see is that Claude Opus 4.7 Medium scored right here. It cost $1.24 per task on average. And if you'll note, GLM 5.1 is way over here. It's way more expensive than Claude Opus 4.7, even though GLM 5.1 is way cheaper on the input and output cost per token. And the reason that this is way more expensive is because of what we just saw. Now, Qwen 3.7 isn't in this benchmark yet, but I think that if we were to look at this and say, okay, this one used like $40, and the reason that it costs so much to do this is because it did the app, it built the app, but then it had 15 TypeScript errors in it. Right here, I have 15 errors, right? So then it created this crappy app that had all these errors, so then it had to keep working, so that at the end of the day, to finish that task, it ended up being way more expensive than if we had just put it into the more expensive model from the start, right? And it's the same thing with Kimi K 2.6. If you look at Kimi K 2.6 on input and output tokens is 1/6 of the price of Opus 4.7. But if you look at this benchmark, you can see that they're literally right next to each other. That 1/6 cost advantage pretty much is non-existent when you're actually using it in real workflows. And that's what we're seeing with Qwen 3.7 and a lot of other Chinese models. With that said, let's take a look at BridgeBench.
Against the Chinese models, he swings between a hatchet, one of the worst I've ever tested, and an important insight. Cheap per token is a trap, because the real cost is per task, and a chatty cheap model can cost more than an expensive careful one.
So this is a new Claude model. It just dropped, and you guys can see it here first. These benchmarks are off the charts. We have 80% on SweetBench Pro, which is even better than the Mythos preview that we had. Look at that. It was at 77.8. And this is at 80.3. That is absolutely off the charts. Agentic coding, Frontier Code Diamond. This is literally the highest score that we've ever seen. GPT 5.5 gets a 5.7% on this. Fable 5 gets 29%. That is literally off the charts improvement. So we're going to test this out. We're going to give it at least 3 to 5 hours, and we're going to thoroughly test this. I've got 3 Claude Max subscriptions, and we're going to see what we're dealing with here. Is this the leap that we've been waiting for? Is this the leap that we've been waiting for? I don't know. But only time will tell. We're going to thoroughly test this. Benchmarks are one thing, but actually putting it through real-world tests says another. So
His healthiest instinct, stated plainly on the newest model. Benchmarks are one thing, only real-world testing says another. We believe him, even after he just read every benchmark number out loud, breathlessly, first. The money he spends. It starts almost sweetly early on. A $300 bill makes him yelp. I got scammed.
You know what's something that we need to do, guys? We need to check on how much I've spent on Cursor this month. Let's take a look. I got scammed, guys. So I have the Ultra plan, and I've got $300 in usage-based spending. What a ripoff. $300, guys. So technically, I'm a couple $100 in the hole on this whole challenge thing. And you know why I paid so much? Is because I was using Opus 4.1 too much. I was using Opus 4.1 like for everything. And then GPT-5 came out and saved me, thank goodness. But man, oh man. Also, if you guys are watching, you haven't already liked and subscribed, make sure you do so. Let's check the subscribers. Oh wow, 1484. Let's go. Thank you to whoever subbed. Hey, Linux thing is here. What's good? What's good, Linux? Hope everything's good with you, man. Linux, I've been going through the caffeine withdrawals, but we're starting to get through it. It's been like I'm like a recovering heroin addict or something. I don't know what's up. I'm like an alcoholic, guys, but for caffeine. Robidex says that he hates the Cursor pricing change. Yeah, I mean, I got absolutely... In this video, I'm going to be breaking down my AI expenses and why I'm spending $1,100 per month on AI subscriptions. I'm going to talk a little bit about which subscriptions I'm using, as well as which ones I think are the best and which ones I recommend, as I pretty much am using all of them. $250 per month on the Google AI Ultra plan, $50 per month for my BridgeMind Pro plan, and $200 per month on my Cursor Ultra plan. So that brings the total to $1,100 per month, or $13,200 per year. These things are making it better than Claude Opus 4.6. It's just that it comes at a cost, right? It comes at a 35% cost increase, which is terrible because the rate limits were already bad. And I think that, yeah, if you want to use Claude Opus 4.7, at least for my use case, I want to have multiple subscriptions because I'm streaming for like I was on stream for 6 hours yesterday, right? And I hit my limit after 90 minutes. So for me, it makes the most sense to just say, hey, you know what? This is the best model in the world. Let's buy 2 subscriptions so that I don't get rate limited. And then we'll come back later on. And if they can make it better, or make it so that we don't get rate limited during those peak hours, maybe it's better. But you can see here, Bridge Code is functioning very well, and Claude Opus 4.7 helped me build this. Over the past 2 days, I have spent over 2 billion tokens on the newly released Claude Opus 4.8. You can see that I spent 480 million tokens on the fast mode, and then over here in Claude Code, I spent 973 million tokens, and then 655 million tokens.
It does not stay sweet. $1,100 a month, itemized across 6 services. Then 2 cloud subscriptions. Then 3, 2 billion tokens in 2 days, roughly $50,000 of compute by one viewer's math. To a 2026 audience, this reads as a rich kid with a credit card. And there's some of that. But watch what he's actually buying. He's buying no limits. The one thing he will not tolerate is being told to wait.
In this video, I'm going to be putting local AI models to the test on my brand new MacBook Pro M5 Max with fully maxed out specs. I purchased this for $5,399 yesterday. It's got 128 gigabytes of unified memory, and we're going to be vibe coding and testing local models inside of my Hermes agents to see how good is this machine at running local AI models. Later this week, I am going to be putting my NVIDIA DGX Spark.
His advice to you, though, never wavers. Spend more. This really is the future. Easy to say, from inside the no limits room. And it pains the skeptic in me from where I sit, 60 years on, looking back. He did spend money on the one thing that turned out to matter. History was unkind to the frugal who hesitated to go all in with AI. The body. The push-ups are not a bit, or rather, they began as discipline and became a bit, which is the most 2026 thing imaginable. Every, one push-up. He once did over 1,000 in a single stream to break his own record, because his brother said the streaming was changing his build.
Yeah, my brother, I have 3 older brothers, and one of my brothers was like, dude, I think you're getting the push-ups on stream are giving you a different build. And I was like, yeah. I was like, probably, dude. I was like, it's just funny. I think I've done what's the most I've done? We could try and break the record today for the most push-ups we've done on stream. I think the most push-ups we've done on stream before is 1,000. So let's go over to GoDaddy and buy this domain so we can actually start working on the website. Because not only we're actually gonna be building the tool, but we're also gonna be building out everything else. So I think it's just gonna be BridgeChat.ai or something. BridgeChat, let's see, probably BridgeChat. Okay, so BridgeChat.com, we could buy it for 9,888, but I don't really feel like that right now. So we're gonna go with BridgeChat.ai. All right, guys, well, let's officially break the record, shall we? We hit the record. The most push-ups we've ever done on stream is 1,000, but I'm all about breaking records. I'm about breaking. So let's break that record real quick. Let's go. Let's bust out another 25. All right, let's go, chat. Record officially broken. Push-ups help keep the energy. Also, if you're working 12 hours a day, you don't really have time to work out and stuff. I'm very serious about my fitness and whatnot. So being able to do the push-ups on stream, it gives me energy. It helps me, for example, if I'm not gonna be able to work out today, doing 1,000 push-ups is gonna help me maintain fitness.
His logic is airtight, in the way only the very driven manage. If you work 12 hours a day, you don't have time to exercise. So 1,000 push-ups. He has solved the problem of having no time to exercise by exercising.
We got 1,500 likes yesterday on stream. Oh, I just noticed that we got 1,500. So I have a 450 push-up debt that I owe from yesterday. Hold on, maybe Titan, come here. Watch this, guys. This is sick. Titan, sit, Titan. Good boy. He lies down. All right, that's a good boy. This is the special guest on the stream, guys. Big T. We call him Big T. All right, let's hit a 50 bomb. I think I did 25 at the start of the stream. So we're 25 in. Let's drop a 50 bomb though, Big T. Ready? Hold up though. All right, got the 40 bomb. All right, Big T was uninterested in the push-ups. All right, up to 65 for the day. Okay, let's get it. Yeah, he's a good dog. All right. Create your signing certificate. Open code, preferences, accounts. Select your Apple ID. Manage certificates. Create developer ID certificate. Can you do a piano stream? We'll do them probably sometime soon. Probably not today. We're gonna do a cold plunge today. So if we get to 500 likes, we're gonna do a cold.
There's a piano he keeps promising to play. There's a German shepherd named Big T in goggles, supremely unimpressed by all of it. The dog, I think, is the only one in the room not performing.
If I'm gonna be able to even fill that up. Because it's I don't know how, let me check how many gallons of water it is. How many gallons of water is an Orca cold plunge?
And then there's the inflatable cold plunge, always a crowd pleaser, even among his straight audience. There was always the question if he would resurface or not.
Hanum said, you got it, bro. You are so productive. Yeah, I'd like to think so. Am I productive, or do I just have nothing better to do? That's the question I'm asking myself. Am I productive, or do I just have nothing else that I should be doing? I don't play any video games. I don't have any other better way to spend my time, honestly.
And then, quietly, at 1 a.m, the realest line he ever says, "Am I productive, or do I just have nothing better to do?" He laughs it off. Johanna said this line felt way too real. The stunts. These are why he's watchable, and I won't pretend otherwise. He vibe codes from a self-driving car. He runs agents of a desktop supercomputer on a shelf. He tries, in another video, to fry an egg on it.
In this video, I'm going to be vibe coding with the newly released Grok 4.3 in a full self-driving Tesla. So as you guys can see here, this released on OpenRouter yesterday. This model has a 1 million context.
Different website design. I think the craziest part about this is that I haven't had to even intervene with the wheel a single time while I've been vibe coding, while I've been just watching the road. I haven't had to touch the wheel. And even right now, there's a person it literally sees this person and it just let the person, look at this, hold on. The Tesla stopped to let that person go by. It literally stopped and was polite, and the person just waved at me because the Tesla let them go. So I'm not even kidding. The Tesla, I just went through like a roundabout, right? And it noticed that there was a person and it slowed down and the person gave me a wave. They were like, hey, thank you. And it wasn't me that did that. It was the Tesla. And I'm not even kidding. The person waved at me. Like, what? Okay.
A man accepting thanks from a stranger for a kindness performed by his machine. 2026 was just an odd time. Humanity lived with 1 foot in the past, 1 in the future.
Spark. So I'm SSH'd inside of Cursor into the DGX Spark that you see behind me on this shelf. That is a DGX Spark with 128 gigabytes of unified memory. And we're just going to run Hermes setup here and DGX Spark. And look at that. It looks like it already sent it. Look at that. I didn't even have to cut the video. Look at that, chat. So it sent it to Assembly AI. It says why it chose its strongest combination of audience fit in a clean public partnership contract. Assembly AI X BridgeMind Buildathon sponsorship. And it literally verified that it sent. I mean, guys, this is very, very impressive. So I'll update you guys.
He even has an agent write and send a real sponsorship email to a real company, live. He is delighted. The recipient has no idea they are corresponding with a shelf. None of it works without the crowd. And the crowd is the most genuinely impressive thing he built. Thousands of people in a chat room, finding his bugs for free, entering his hackathons, cheering each number upward. He calls it a movement, not an audience. And he's right.
20 bugs, right? And big shout out to the BridgeMind community for finding those bugs. And we're actually having a hackathon. There's going to be a link in the description for that down below as well. But the hackathon is coming up November 3rd to November 10th. There's $500 in prizes. First place gets $250, second place gets $150, and third place gets $100. So we're all really pumped to do that. But also, we did break 7,000 members in the BridgeMind Discord community. That was a huge milestone that we hit this week. So I feel very good about it if we check this out. So we're now at 7,074 members. If you guys have not already joined the BridgeMind Discord community, make sure you do so. There's going to be a link in the description as well as in the pinned comment, but that was a big deal. I'm going to be configuring this agent. The agent's name is going to be Vivian, and this agent is going to be tasked with doing cold outreach to businesses and brands in the vibe coding space to identify partners for BridgeMind to actually partner with for different events inside of the BridgeMind community. So as you guys know, BridgeMind is the home of the vibe coding movement. There are over 8,000 builders in our Discord server. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. You can see the title of the video, and I've known that this was coming for a while now, but I just wanted to officially announce it to everybody in the BridgeMind community to share that I have personally invested an additional $25,000 into BridgeMind. And I am now looking to build a vibe coding super team.
He plans to hire from among his followers. He funds the prizes himself. He even staffs AI employees alongside the human ones. An organization that is part company, part congregation, and part server farm.
More important now than ever before in this journey that we have staying power, because the AI models are getting better and we need to stay in the arena for long enough till the point where there is models that allow us to be just incredibly capable, right? It's like the skill that everybody is learning in the BridgeMind community is a skill that is going to be a skill in the future that is just incredibly valuable, right? And that skill is the skill of being able to be an agent orchestrator orchestrator or using AI in an intelligent way. You know, most people, if you ask them, oh, how are you using AI or what is AI? They're going to say ChatGPT, and they're going to say, oh, I ask it to make me a recipe for, you know, egg omelets or whatever, right? And it's like, you know, yeah, no, that's not what people in the BridgeMind community are doing. We're using this to actually build things. We're using agent workflows. We're using the best tools. We're using the best models. And
we build things. Can't argue with that. And it explains part of his appeal. In a year when most people felt replaced, he made his viewers feel like builders.
That's insane. Okay, Whisperflow, the AI-powered voice dictation operating system startup, reached $10 million in ARR in late 2025. So at this run rate, so if they're doing 10 million in ARR and they're about to raise $2 billion, what is that? What kind of multiple is that? That is an insane multiple. All right, so I'm gonna put my finance hat on and let's just do this. I'm gonna divide this. So they got a 200x revenue multiple. That is insane. A 200 multiple. So if a 200 multiple, that means that BridgeMind could be worth 40 million. We could be worth 40 million if I put that same multiple on BridgeMind. 40 million, boys. Let's go. But they're all talking to each other, brainstorming better ways to do things, and they're learning from one another, and they're laughing, and they're enjoying their time together. And I have to say, you know, one thing that I try and do is I try to bring people together. And when I was in my college dorm room using GPT 3.5 over 3 years ago, vibe coding, building out Python scripts, and I realized in my dorm room that vibe coding was going to be the future of software development and AI was going to be heavily integrated into software development. And I decided to go all in. But at that time, I had nobody around me to share that with, nobody that would be as excited as I was. All my friends in college, they were like, dude, why, just shut up about ChatGPT, right?
So let me end where he keeps ending. A college dorm room, 3 years before any of this. A kid copy-pasting from a chatbot while his friends tell him to shut up about it. He was right, and they were wrong. And he has not entirely recovered from being right.
Well, I need to go make some food since the DoorDash didn't work out. So I'm going to end the stream here for today. Great job on the projects today, guys. I'm going to get this deployed and I'm going to knock out a couple things off stream. But thank you guys for showing up today. Let's keep it going. Let's stay in the arena. Let's make some progress.
Let's stay in the arena. I'll be back tomorrow. And he is. That's the part the critics can never quite explain away the showing up. The coin was loud, the spending was loud, the numbers were inflated. But underneath the noise is a young man who did a hard thing in public every single day for the better part of a year and built something real out of it and shared the highs and the lows, the wins and the losses. In my time, we know how this story turns out. I am not permitted to tell you. But I'll say this much, Matthew. Across 60 years, the keyboards do go away. The talking to machines does win. You were early and a bit erratic and occasionally absurd. And mostly, you were right. This has been a field study of the lost civilization of 2026. I'm returning to 2085 now. Take care, everyone. Tune in to Matthew's streams and don't judge him too harshly. He's only 23 and he has a bright future ahead. You'll see.